Hello.
Hi, Diana. It's Michael.
Hi, Michael.
I'm feeding the dogs, so
At
I probably won't have my video on for very long, so you don't have to go
least
participate.
someone's being fed.
Did you have time for lunch? Did you have a good Thanksgiving? All those things?
Here's my banana. Here's my banana, and I just ate the first quarter
Here's
of it.
mine.
That's
Here's
my
mine.
lunch.
I got mine
Here's
too.
yours.
One cottage
I'm
cheese.
1/4 of the way into my lunch banana.
I have to eat lunch while I'm on the.
Yeah, that's fine. As long as we don't go and munch sounds. All right. Hi, everyone. How was your Thanksgiving?
Great.
Nice to see you, all smiley faces. Wow, Marilee, oh my God, I haven't seen you in a long time. Oh, there we go. Nice to see everyone. Okay, so none of you were with me this morning, were you? No, I used to have someone who came back and forth. It's not easy to do morning and evening. Well, not even morning and evening, because Patricia does morning and evening with me on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but this is morning and afternoon nonstop on Fridays. There we go. Okay. Now, what I was about to say is that this morning I was really under the weather because I got my booster shot yesterday and I could just feel it. But, you know, a little bit of ibuprofen and feeling much better. Still have a bit of a headache, but life is good. Hopefully, yay,
My
protected.
knee surgery yesterday.
Yeah, it's my husband and I had it, and I had just pain in my arm in the past when I did the first two, just some tiredness. But this time I actually got a fever. But you know, fever is not a killer. Fever is just fever. That was at night, and that's it. Life is good. All right. Welcome to class, everyone. Open up your photos app while I'm welcoming people in. Anyone have any questions? Anything that happened over the last, we've had 2 weeks. So did you do something that you had questions about? I really appreciate a couple of you guys shared some projects that you worked on. Congratulations for everyone who's out there doing real stuff with the things I teach you. And I love it when you share with me and you tell me what's all about. It just makes me like, think of it. If you ever want to make a teacher happy, tell them that what you taught them is useful. Right. So I like that kind of feedback where you just tell me what you're doing with the things that I teach you. So I got a couple of those this week and that felt really good. All right. So
Diana.
yes, Leon.
Buongiorno. So the Monterey apparently has, and this right from the creative media senior advisor, 3 other people complained that when you're in people and it's supposed to be AI finding those faces, it's not doing it. It's not updating. So they're teaching me to leave the Mac on all night, day after day, not shut it down, which I always do, and quit photos. Not even hide photos. Photos must quit for photos to do its job properly.
Well, remember that a couple of times when we go and say find more, it says something like when photos is, when you're not
finished
using
updating.
photos or something like that, it'll finish updating.
Yep.
So it needs that time. Yeah. And if you've taken any of my classes before, which I believe you have, Leon, I've always recommended not shutting down. Your computer needs time to do its work behind the scenes when you're not busy working with it. And if you shut it down, it can't update, it can't reflect, it's down, it's off. I always say put it to sleep, not shut down. When you sleep it, the computer's functions keep moving in the background, and it keeps doing the stuff it needs to do. Okay.
I'm not complaining, just telling you what is going on in my world.
No, yeah, but I'm
so
just
you'll know that I am
perfect.
trying to create these albums and send them out to people, like every picture I could find of them, and then how it kind of rotates the main pic with the ones down below it, which I think is a neat feature.
Yeah.
And the one
Mhm.
person that I successfully got it to, she was very stoked. But I'm not sending any more out until I get all the pictures. And I don't know. He said it could take days, weeks, or months. Nobody knows. Engineering is still working on it.
Yeah. I mean, if you have 1,000 photos, or if you have 20,000 photos, it'll take much longer. How much will it take? Well, it depends on your computer, your speed, how long is it on, your connection, I mean, there's so many things that need to go in there for that analysis, right? That it's not like there's this mathematical thing where you can go, oh, you'll have it ready in 10 minutes, right? So what
Yeah.
he's saying is true. It all is depend. You have a very powerful computer. If you have a very very powerful, but full of stuff and many other programs open, versus if you have maybe a weaker computer, but all you have open is photos and let it do its thing. So it's just hard. It's impossible to predict. You just need to have your computer with only the programs that are necessary open, leave the rest turned off or quit the rest of them, and let your computer have space to move around and think and do stuff in the background. It's indexing your files, okay? And that's what it needs to do before it can apply AI and go, oh, this face looks like that one, and this face looks like that one, and this face looks like that one. So the sample menu, that the Photos app that I bring here only has, I don't know how many photos do I have in my sample app. I don't know, it has a certain amount. But when I do my personal one, I have bazillions of photos in it. So it takes way more time to analyze all that material, right? So yeah, don't turn your computers off unless you need to. Occasionally, some people say turn them off once a month. Some people say never. Some people say once a week. I think once a week is too much. Unless things are not working for you, I think once a month is enough. Just put it to sleep, okay? And let your computer do your thing. But close programs you're not using as well. Those are the two things that matter.
Thank you.
But when you do
know.
when you do restart your computer and reset, it also cleans up messes and stuff. So if you have a computer that's having a lot of problems, you have it very full, then you have to shut it down more often, maybe once a week. My computer for a while was giving me a lot of problems because I have it too full. I was shutting it down and doing a restart every day to clean it up of all its messes, but that's because my fault. I was not cleaning up my computer, right? So that's the difference. So yeah, thanks for that, Leon. All right. So anything you guys did with your photos, if you did see your loved ones this weekend, past Thanksgiving, I'm sorry, this weekend. Anybody do, I heard from someone who did this really nice slideshow for the group that gathered for Thanksgiving. Anyone else do anything like that? Or Leon's sharing how he's sharing albums of people with the people involved. Anyone else trying to use your photos? Anne?
I was making my Christmas card. And so
Mhm.
I took all the photos from the year, that a bunch of them that I wanted, and put them in an album. And then I chose the ones I wanted out of that, after I had them in the album, chose 5 that I wanted for my Christmas card. But then I wasn't able to actually take them from my album to the Snapfish, because it just went to all my computers in the browse. It does that for all my photos, not the album. I didn't know if I could just get it to browse that album. So then I had to go back and look at all my photos and try to remember which ones I had.
Oh, well, here's the thing. It's good. Thanks for saying that. When you work with apps that are that are compatible with your photos, then it does go into your albums. I'm trying to think, what did I show you guys the other day? Oh, mail. So those of you who are in the Mac class, I was showing you that if you're sending an email from inside of Photos, it's very easy to send an email. You select an image and you just go up here into the share and you mail it and your mail out, whatever. But when it's the other way around, from inside of mail, I was showing people, you can ask to go in to see photos. And then in there, you can go into all of your albums and everything you've created and find the photo, the Christmas photo album, and find the ones you wanted. But if it's something like Snapfish, it's an online program set up for any computer user, Chromebook, Mac, PC, whatever. They don't know how to go into your photos app and albums. So what's the solution? You go to your photos album, say that you made this album. Let me see. Say you made an album right here called Christmas Photos, and you have these 5. If you're going to go out, right, to send these pictures out to someone, then take them out of the photos environment. Okay, so how do you do that? There's a couple of different ways. So say that this is one of the photos that I'm going to put in my photo album, right? Say that's the one, right? Maybe that one. So
Are you
You-
sharing your
You're
screen?
not sharing your
Oh,
screen.
thank you, you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Keep me honest. Here we go. There we go. So now moving you guys over to the other side so I can see you all. I'm only seeing it. Let me move. I moved my my photos to another window. So now I can. Okay. So here you go. So so say you choose the photo for your here it is. Say I choose this one, right? As she said, if you go into Snap, so you mentioned Snapfish. It's a place online that let me go ahead and go and give you an example. Let me share my Safari screen together with my photo screen. So say you go to Safari and go to Snapfish. I used to go to Costco all the time because I just drive down and pick them up from Costco, but now they don't have that feature anymore. And I haven't printed since then. Yeah, they closed the photo centers of the stores themselves, so you can't do that anymore. Anyway, so Snapfish is one option for you to go in, and so you go to Snapfish. Basically what they're going to say is, okay, if you're going to print something, add your photos from wherever you have them. So maybe you have them on your computer, maybe in Google Photos, maybe in Facebook, maybe in Instagram. So when you go find, so you're going to go from your computer, you need to sign in. I'm not signed in. I don't think I have a Snap. Yeah, I don't have a Snapfish account. They're going to say, find the photos, right? So basically the important thing, and whatever other company you use, that's the key. They're in your computer, but they don't know Snapfish doesn't let you browse all the way through into your photo albums. So what do? You export. By then you know that it's only 2 or 3, or when every time my mom visited me, I would export I would print 100 photos for her to take 4x6s of the time she was here. So you export them, you take them out of your photos, you create a duplicate basically in your computer, you print them, and then you get rid of them because they never left here. So let's keep an eye. Let's look at one that's very distinctive. That's clearly, anyway, this is a panorama, 1964. This is the photo. I right click. I could from here share it to make a mail, to do all that other kind of stuff, right? I could create stuff, whatever. Or I could go up to the stuff on top and export. So I go to File, Export. Export one photo or export the unmodified original. So remember that last week we edited some photos. Well, 2 weeks ago now we edited some photos. So if you export the photo, let me get an edited photo. These are not, this one's not edited. Never mind. The whole point is it's choosing which one. So I'm going to export this one photo. And it's going to tell me what kind of photo I want to produce. So say it was an HEIC. I can put it out as a JPEG. Yes, JPEG is what most of the time you need, right? And now what if I wanted to do these 4 photos? So command, I hit the command key and it's these 4 are going to be, see, so remember 1, hold the command, 2, 3, 4. So you can choose more, right? So this would be Anne who chose 5. Choose 1, 2, 3, 4. So you choose 5 of them. And when you go file export, export 4 photos, or I guess I chose only 4. So you can do it all in one movement. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and export only one. I'm going to export only this one. So I'm going to go back. So file export, export 1 photo. And I'm going to do the same information. I'm not going to do anything else to it. And here's where you can choose whether you export it with keywords, with description, with location information or not. So remember how I said, depending on who sends it to you, sometimes you get their keywords or their information, other times you don't. This is when you make a choice. If this is leaving my house, do I want it to have the location information of my house, right? Depends on who you're sending it to. Anyway, so this is where you make the choice. The important thing is to save it somewhere, and you want to know where you're going to send it to. So for the most part, JPEG is more than enough. Say that you want more details, and this is good enough for 99% of you. Some of you guys might want to know a little bit more about the format. So then you can go over here and choose if it's going to do some kind of compression or not, or all that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to speak about that. For the most part, this is what everyone should export if you're going to print. And then just hit export. So really it was just file export, and then it tells you where to put them. This is a good place. You know how I always tell you guys don't use your desktop? This is a perfect example of a temporary thing that's just going to be on your desktop until you send it to print, and then you can get rid of them. This is going to create a copy. This that I'm doing is going to create a copy. So I'm going to go to my desktop, in fact, and I'm going to make a new folder and call this one Xmas card photo export, for example, or photocopies, or something like that. I make a folder called that, and I say export. So I'm going to run through this with you guys in a minute, but right now let me just show you. I'm going to share my entire screen right now. So now I got a new folder here, and this folder has all my photos for the Christmas cards. And if I open it up, then there's only one photo in there, of course, which I only put 1 photo, which is this image. See, it's 1964, but see how it's still here, and it's here as well. Let me show you as an icon. It's the same one. See, so I have it in my desktop and I have it in here. So this is the important point, that when you export a photo, you've created a duplicate of it. Does that make sense? So say that you forgot and you wanted 2 more. So now let's all do this together. Choose a photo to export. Choose a photo to export. It doesn't matter which, it's just a sample. And then go up to File, Export, export 1 photo. Is everyone there? Leave the basic defaults unless you want to hide or add location or detailed description. And then just say export, and it's going to say where. So here on the left side, hit your desktop. If you don't have a folder yet made, which you probably don't, make a new folder on your desktop. So click desktop here. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, take my Mac classes. Hit your new folder, make yourself a folder. I made an Xmas card export. Maybe you're making it to go to Snapfish photos, you know, whatever you want. And then hit export. So by now I've exported 2 photos in there. Okay. So if I go into that folder, and again, I can double click into that folder by opening it up, or I can just go down to my Finder window and open up a Finder window and then click on desktop. Here it is. I have my folder with my 2 photos that I just exported. Now, yes, I can go to Snapfish, click on my computer, sign in, but I'm not signed in. It says, where are the photos? They are on my computer, and you just go and browse down to your desktop, select these 2. Send, pay, do all the stuff. And when you're done, this is key. After you've sent them, not after you receive them, after you send them to Snapfish, they don't need this anymore. You come here and you delete this folder. Move to trash. You're not deleting the files. See how these are still here? I'm not deleting the files. I'm just deleting those duplicates that I just made that have no reason to stay, especially if you export many photos. So when I used to export my mom's photos, say of the thousands of photos I took while she was here, I exported 100. I'd send them to print to Costco. Once you upload them, basically Snapfish, Costco, wherever you go, it's going to ask you to point them, browse, find them, desktop folder. Here they are, upload them. They're going to say, is this what you want? You'll say yes. What size? You'll say what size. You'll put in your credit card number. You'll say go. That's it. They've been uploaded. They have the photo now. They don't need yours anymore. So then you go over here and you trash it. You're done. And you don't have duplicates. Does that make sense, you guys? You create a folder outside in order to have your, and that for those of you wanting to work in Photoshop, before you couldn't work in Photoshop from photos, now you can. Now in Photoshop, you can go all the way into your albums and choose a photo from Photos album. But in the past, this is what I used to do. If I wanted to Photoshop this image, I would export it and then work on it in Photoshop. But now you can actually work on it you can edit it in Photoshop from your Photos album. But I'm not going to show that because most of you guys don't use photos. Let me share my screen again to just photos. So that was a great question or a great comment there. And today I wanted to talk a bit more about this. You know, we're going to do a bit more, talk more about editing and also bring it down more to how to use these photos. Like we did the slideshow the other day. Yolanda, your hand's been up for a little while. Can you?
So let's say that, Costco is very helpful, but if you go to Walgreens, they don't know anything, or they just avoid spending time with you. So let's say that I don't bring my laptop. I don't have my desktop. I only have my iPhone. And in this iPhone, there are like 40,000 pictures. So if you have to bring it over there, you'll have to spend like, until it could get to, unless it says the last 500 photos or something.
So here's the thing. I don't get what I'm talking about, Yolanda, and I see what your point is that I never go in person. I've never gone in person to print. So I don't really know what you do in person. I just go, let me share again my entire screen. I've always done this online, right? So as much as I just share, let me share, hold on. I need to share my entire desktop. I've always done this online. So here's an example of Snapfish. Another would be an example of Costco. Let me, let me go to Costco because I do have an account there. Costco Photo Center. So I don't go with my phone or with my laptop or anything. I just go to the Costco Photo Center and I sign in. Again, I haven't done this in a while because I sign into my Costco Photo Center. And then this is exactly the same for any of these like Walmart, Snapfish, Staples, Kinko's, whoever you print with, what they want is for you to upload your photos. So you upload your photos and then, so whatever, I haven't agree, you make an album. Maybe this is the album is going to be Christmas 2022, or no, we're still in 2021. Cool. You make that album, okay? And then you drag or drop your photos here, or you select photos. Let me take my album out of the trash. Here you go. So here I had put my album in the trash, so now it's here. So basically you need to go find your photos wherever they are. So I can either drag them and drop them in here. That's one solution. So I can open this up and just drag it. That's how simple it is. I dragged it in. Or let me get rid of that. Or the other choice was, what was their choice? Upload. And I have to create a new one because I just left there Christmas 2021. Or I can select a photo. When you say select photo, you need to navigate to where you hit them. So I hit them or stash them. So I go to my desktop, Xmas photos, and here we go. It's these two. I select these two and I upload. Okay. So basically you control what you give them because you're at home. And the people who are helping you in Walmart, they know nothing about photos. They know, like you said, they can't help you. They don't know your laptop from a Mac, from a PC. They don't know the phone. There might be someone helpful who happens to be their shift when you're there, but for the most part, they have no idea.
Okay, just one more question, Diana.
And so, by the way, here, then you've marked the ones you want, and then you start the upload. I'm going to show you this because you'll see. Then you're uploading your photo. See, it's going up to their server. So that's why I'm saying you don't need the one that you have on your desktop anymore, because you're truly uploading your photo to them, right? So this, if you do 100 photos, it'll take, maybe an hour. If you do 2 photos, it might take 2 minutes. I mean, I don't know. So however many photos you're about to print is however much time you'll have to sit there waiting for them to upload. Okay. Yes, Yolanda.
Okay. So this morning I was going to about sharing in the email. There's a friend of mine is retiring, and I went to my, so I sent an email, but while the email is still there, I wanted to share, to put a picture in that email. So I went to the photos and I put the name of, let's say, Ruth on that thing, and so it popped out. But then it was I can only get like a small movie, but it was 64 MB, and my email server can only
Okay, so
again,
can
yes.
you, so you
So-
made a slideshow and you made a
No,
movie
no,
of
no,
the
no, no, no.
slideshow?
It's not
Oh,
a slideshow. I'm just trying to share a picture of her from my photo gallery to send it to her.
there's no way it's 64 megabytes.
Right. So my question then, is there a way like you can reduce that 64 to,
No,
let's
but you do not have 64 megabyte photos. I assure you, you would have to have a highly professional
Empty.
camera that costs $5,000 or $10,000 to have a 64 megabyte photo. So maybe you can share your screen and
I made
show
a
me.
mistake. I meant 64 megabyte.
Still megabytes.
Yeah.
All the photos from iPhones and stuff are 1 or 2 megabytes. So share your screen and let's see what's happening. Let me first finish here because
Okay.
yeah, today we're going to be working with editing, how to handle these files. This is the whole point of today. What do you do with these photos? What do you want to do with them? So one of them is emailing them, one is printing them, one is putting them into projects like slideshows, editing them. So that's what we're going to do. And I also want to introduce what do you do? We have a little video, and then we're also going to talk about how to edit videos next week. Okay. So let me just finish with this. If you go to a system like Costco, it's going to look a little bit different than Snapfish, a little bit different than Walgreens. Where else? What other printer places? There's so many of these. I can't think right now of other names. Someone said
Mimeo.
Leon, you said you go somewhere. Where was it that you go?
Mimeo.
Vimeo. Okay. So there's all these different places and it all looks a little bit different, but pretty much they let you choose what price you want, what you want to do with it, et cetera, et cetera. But once it's here, this is all I wanted to teach you right now. You're done. They have the photos. In fact, if I go down to 2020, they probably have some photos of mine. How about 2019? Here I have a book. So like this 134 photos here of stuff that I uploaded in 2017. So this is an example of me sending 234 photos out for her that day. So she's not coming here for a while, but see 490 photos I printed in 2016 from my mom. Okay. So they have them. I could delete them from here. I just never have bothered to delete them, but they have the photos. So now you go ahead and you just get rid of this folder. This is the main point that I'm trying to say. These photos do not need to stay here anymore. Okay, move them to the trash and then empty your trash. I'm going to leave them in the trash in case I need to again. But Yolanda, why don't you share your screen so we can see what it is that you did that ended up being 64 megabytes so I can give you a hand. So the idea is you wanted to email photos to your friend
No,
or print.
okay. Let's say you send me an email that says you are retiring. So I responded, I will sorely miss you. And then I wanted to put a picture of you in that email that I'm sending
Yeah.
in my camera where you are playing a guitar or something.
Yeah, go ahead and open, give us the example, because what you're saying is from email, right? So what you're saying is from the email.
So I then put on the search the name of Ruth. Okay.
You have to click in there. Yeah.
And then that is what came out. Okay?
Oh, because that's a video.
Oh.
A 50-second video. Videos are huge.
So I wanted to send that to her, and I almost just decided to screenshot so that I can only send. But
okay, so stop. Guys, videos are humongous files. Videos are not going to fit in an email like Yolanda found. She wants to send it to her. She can't. So this is a perfect example of where you can do a shared album. Okay. So with this example, let me show you videos you cannot share. Well, you cannot. I mean, you can only send like 10 or 15 megabytes in an email, and videos are always way bigger than that. Like you just said, 64 megabytes, right? Because if you try to send this as if it were an email, it's going to go to 64 megabytes. Let me go ahead and request remote control. Since we have your example here, let's just use this example.
Actually, my question was, is there a way to reduce that MB thing that, you know?
No, no videos. Every second of a video is like, depending, it can be 24 frames, it can be, 72 frames. There's so many frames, and each one is worth a photo, and you have 50 seconds here. So you probably have the equivalent of, I'm not good in my brain. I don't even know what speed this video is at, but maybe you have hundreds of photos worth of size. So you can't reduce the size of a video unless next week, when we talk about the movie, iMovies, when we talk about the program iMovie, there's a ways to reduce the size there. You have to process it through a processor that reduces the size of the video. But it's just that videos are just, you ever saw, cartoons, how they used to be made. It's just tons of little photos that go by really fast. And then you kind of see movement. So you can't really reduce that. Unless you change you can, there's a way to do it, but not from photos. Okay. Not from here.
Yeah.
From the iMovie. So what you can do if you really want to share a video, many of you do want to share videos, is turn it, see how she has this thing called shared albums here. Okay. And she seems to have some. So you create a shared album, right? So I'm going to create it for you, then you can get rid of it, but you click on shared albums, create a plus, call this one Ruth. Okay. And then invite people. And this person that you'd invite is, you put the email of this Ruth person. Okay.
Mhm.
So I don't know what her email might be. You have to, maybe it's this one. There you go. I assume because I saw that you had the word Steinberg there. That's it. So you invite this person to see it. Okay. And then you say create.
Oh.
So right now, if I go to that folder, I need to, let me go back. I need to put it in there. I didn't put the video in there. So Ruth, here, you need to put that in there. I didn't.
Oh.
Okay. So if you go to Ruth right now, come on. Add photos and video. I need to find it again. So I'm sorry. It didn't go in there. So search Ruth. It's I have to look in here to search for Ruth. Here it is. So this one here, I'm going to put in there.
Oh.
Okay, so but it's not going in. So I'm not sure if it's because we're doing this over Zoom and yada, 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 but maybe what I'm going to do instead is, can I create a shared album here? Yeah, so instead of doing that one, I'm gonna actually right click on this video and create a shared album with this video already. I'm gonna create a shared album. Oh, there it is. It went in. It was just taking its time. It was taking its time. There it is. So if I go to Ruth, this is shared. Now this was shared, remember, with Ruth. I sent an email to her. So now Ruth is gonna get an email that says Yolanda has shared an album with you with a link. She's gonna click on that link, and Ruth won't see everything else that Yolanda has. She's been given permission to just look at this one album.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh. Okay. So if it were not a movie, but just a plain picture, is it a bad habit? Okay, I should not really label bad or good. I'm too lazy to go through that little arrow to email to her. So I would normally just drag it out and put it in my desktop, and then
Which is here, I put this in here twice because I did it twice. So let me get rid of, I don't want, it to be there twice. It might be confusing. It was lagging. There we go. So here's the thing, guys, what she's saying, instead of going up here, selecting a photo, right? Say that you want to send this photo to someone. I've said, go here and mail, right? When you do that, your mail opens up and you say to this person. There we go. Very simple, very uncomplicated. But
Mhm.
Yolanda, what she does is she grabs this one and puts it out here. Remember how I just taught you how to export? That's possible too, but this is a very reduced version of your photo, just so you know. But if you don't need to print, maybe that reduced version is good enough. Just so you know, this photo is not exported unmodified. This is reduced. Okay. Then she goes to mail, makes an email to the person. So make an email to, yada, yada. Then she grabs this one and puts it in there. Which one seems more easy? I recommend, and I'm going to close mail right now because I don't want to send this to anyone. I recommend sending it straight from in here. But if you do this, that we just showed you, what do you end up with here?
Compression.
I normally would trash it afterwards so that they're.
Okay, as long as you remember to trash it, that's fine. First of all, it's a compressed version. It's two of the same thing. The key thing, you can do it whichever way you already do it, just move it to the trash. This one is not gone. This duplicate is gone. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah.
So that's fine. You can do it that way. It's just 5 steps instead of one, which is just share and mail. It's already there. Okay. Or if I want to share 3 photos, I'm going to hit command, that one, that one, that one, and that one. I want to share those 4 photos. Okay. So then if I go over here, I click plus, mail, I send those 4 photos. They're all just show up attached, ready to go. Okay. And then you don't have to go export it and then grab it and then put it in and then delete it. It's just easier. But if you're accustomed to doing that, the last step is the one that matters to me, which is get rid of it from the desktop. Okay. Put it in the trash and then empty your trash.
I think
All
the reason why I do the dragging was because I had already done the email. And so, in other words,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's fine. When you already wrote the email, sometimes it makes more sense to do what you said. Say, I'm going to open let me share my screen. Say that I've already done the email. Here's my screen. Here. Share this one. So I just opened my email. So say that I've already written a whole email, right? Like yada, 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 yada. I just wrote a ton of email. And I don't want to, from there, go to mail and do that. So watch. See this little icon right there? Go to photos. And from here, go find the photo that you're looking for. And here it is. Here you can see all of your albums, everything you've had, your summer trips. So this is what I meant. You can go to the shared albums, say that I wanted to share. I believe this was the winter trip is where I was before. I share, let me go find that 1964. Here it is again, the 1964 that we were talking about before. See? Okay, cool. So I'll bring this one in. Whoops, I closed it. Sorry. Sorry.
Thank you so much
Anyway,
for showing the little
find it
corner
again.
over there.
So over here, say that this is the one. I can just drag it in there like that. Okay.
Wow.
So you still don't need to do all that stuff. From inside of mail, this works. Okay.
Oh,
So you go to this little upper corner right there
yeah.
and you go to photos. Okay.
Because
That-
I
Is
And
that
then
compressed to Deanna?
what's that?
Is
Well-
that compressed to, or can you change it? I see.
Yeah, here it gives you a choice
Mhm.
to send it small, medium, large, or actual size.
Okay.
Okay.
So then it
So
would be
if they're
compressed.
just gonna look at it right now, there we go. But if you want them to get the full size, so it's not compressed, you go to actual size. If not, you can send them a medium one just for them to see it, and that's it, or a small one because you have 10 photos in there. The whole point is that you can't get over 10 to 15 megabytes here. So we're still fine. We can still put a lot of these photos in there. But if I were to try to put in a video, let me go to the videos. And if I try to put in a video here, That's only 7.8 megabytes, so that kind of works. Let's see how long this one is. This one's 40 megabytes. Okay, so 40 megabytes. See over there? The computer's just not going to send. It's just not going to go. It's more than 10 or 15 megabytes. It's just not going to, it's going to say I can't send. So videos are very hard to find one. Okay. So yeah, even if you say small in this case, you know, it just doesn't matter. Videos, they're not affected. It's just the photos that get affected by this. The video is whatever it is. You can't change it in this place. So this one is a non-sendable one. Okay. So this is something I showed in my Mac class the other day, how to do the photos, but then I was showing it to people who weren't in the photos class. Now you guys are in the photos class, but you might not use the Mac Mail. Maybe you don't use Mac Mail. If you do, then this is one of the advantages of Mac Mail. It connects straight into your Photos app. If you don't use Mac Mail, if you use something else, then like you go online or something like that, then you have to do the same thing as going to Snapfish. They don't go inside of your albums. You have to go and pull it out, just like Yolanda showed, just like I showed before. You put it out, you export it, and then you send it. As long as you then delete it, that's fine. It's just more steps. That's why it's so comfortable to have photos and mail. The thing about all of these apps is that if you use them all in conjunction, they're all kind of connected and it works. That's a great question that Mary Lee asked a while ago that I saw come in, but we've been talking and I didn't answer. She says, shouldn't we export our photos from iCloud Photos since they are higher resolution? Okay.
Oh,
She wrote that a little bit ago.
Wow.
Remember that I told you that if they are in your cloud, if your photos are in the cloud, right, then if your computer doesn't have space, then you have the lower resolution ones in your computer and the big ones are in the cloud. But if your computer has space, you've got the big ones in the down. It's just that it chooses, it decides when you have the higher or lower. But if you export it, it's going to export. It's like it downloads the big one and it exports the big one. If you do it right, if you drag like this and pull it out, no, it's just that. But if you select and go and file export, then it brings down the right one from wherever it is. Okay.
Okay.
Even if your computer doesn't have the space and they'll bring the full one from iCloud.
Yeah. So what she's asking about is, so if you go to iCloud.com right here in the internet, you can download from up there the good files. You can create a shared album from there too, or you can download photos from there. And that is always the full size, full resolution file. But the ones that you have here are also going to work. If you export them, you also get the full resolution file. Okay. But not if you drag it out. Then it's just this little version.
Okay, so you're safe as long as you don't drag it out, you'll get the high resolution.
Yeah, and the only one who need the higher resolution is if they're going to print it. And if they're going to print it big. Other than that, the smaller resolution is just fine for just about every other purpose, okay? It's only if you're going to have a high quality print. How many people do you send photos that do high quality big prints? Those are the ones that need the full on resolution. Everyone else can be just fine with the size that they just look at it on their phone and go, how cute. Social
That's
media, how
very
cute.
helpful, yeah,
Yep.
to know
It's
that.
only for people who do high resolution, means that the file is big and all of the details are there for someone who's going to open up in Photoshop and play with it in Photoshop, for example. They need the high resolution file.
Gotcha.
All right. So not many people need that you would have to send that out. So it might happen once or twice, but how many, my mom now and then wants to print a mug out of the photos that I send her, that kind of stuff. But other than that, I don't think anyone else prints my family photos. And if I sell a photo because it's a photography, then I have a whole different system, right? Normally photos that you just send, they might say, hey, I want to print this. Can you send me the bigger one? Oh, sure. And you go, you know what I mean? So
Gotcha.
yeah, let them know. If you're going to print it, I can send you a better one. You can say something like that. All right. Great. Anne, what's your question?
Going back to where you're sending an email of the photo and you click on the little icon. I did that.
In mail? In
on
mail?
On the email program,
Yeah.
where you clicked on the little photo icon and I picked the photo and I put it in the body of the email. How do you write a text in there with that?
Oh, good point. Good point. So say that I put in, let me find just a photo, not a video. Let me go back to this one. So say that I'm sending this image to someone. So it's kind of confusing because what do you do here? The photo is in here and I have it in small and medium or large. It doesn't matter. You have this window in there. Well, this photo functions as if it were text. First of all, I can just click anywhere here, hit return and keep writing underneath, right? Or if what I wanted to do is write ahead of the photo, then I click in here and I have to hit my arrow up, up, up so that I can go ahead and then hit return and make some spaces and then I'm there and then I can write over here. Now I write over here. So basically you have to treat it as if it were another letter. You move it up, you move it down, right? And but when you first put in the photo, it's kind of confusing because it's like, so you can click it down. Most people are accustomed to first writing and then seeing the photo.
So you
You
have to
can grab the photo and you can drag it down too.
you have to
And
click
then
return.
return.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah, I
it's
didn't
just
know
that, yeah, so when it first comes in, either write the email first, right? Say, oh, here are photos of my trip, right? And then you drag the photo and you put it in there so it falls in the right place. Or if instead you happen to first choose the photo and then write it, then it's hard to know, how do you write? So click in the back of it as if this were the letter A, and then use your arrows to move left. And then you make some spaces and you're in the right spot, right? Because you basically need to, let me make this small so you can see my cursors. So you basically need to write up there. So you had to just move it down. Let me just do this again because I had it enlarged so you couldn't see. So if perchance I forget to first write, right? If I first brought in my photo, so there we go, that's the first photo in. Then my mouse, my cursor is, if I start writing, it's going to write out. I had it selected. You hit return and you start seeing a cursor, right? So move it up with the arrows. And this is something that if you know, like basically with my little arrow keys, I'm moving it up, up, and then I start writing now, and then hit return. And it just basically acts as if it were another letter. Okay. As if it were the letter P.
Helpful. So helpful, Deanna. Thank you.
Make spaces
Thank you,
between
thank
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't get using the little arrow, I can't get the cursor to come up over the photo.
Go ahead. It's not over the photo. If you select the photo itself and you do anything, you're deleting the photo. Let me just do this again. Delete everything that I wrote. Okay. You need to try it because it's not that easy. What she's doing is true. You bring in a photo and then just give it a little triple click down here, something like that until you get the insertion point. Let me show you the difference. I'm going to bring in a photo. See that I have an arrow?
Right?
When you have an arrow, you're not writing. You need to get the insertion point to write, which is this other little shape. So if I go down here and I triple click, there it is. I have an insertion point.
I have that.
Now I can start writing. Okay. So now this, I want to move it ahead so I can select it, and basically my point is that once you get the insertion point, once you get the mouse is not an arrow, but this insertion point, now you can move up with your arrows, up, 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 hit return, return. You made some space. Now you can click in there and start writing.
Oh, okay.
Like you need to make spaces. It's like it's as if saying forget that it is photos. Okay. And now I don't want to spend too much more time on mail, but if you start writing something, right? This could be a photo or text. If you want to write ahead of this now, suddenly, what do you need to do? You need to put your insertion point ahead, hit some returns, move up, and now write, move it up, and then you can have writing on top. That's basically what you're trying to do. You're trying to move ahead something that's already written. So the only option is put your insertion point in front, hit return, and then you can go up here. You've made some space. Now you can write. So as much as it's text, the same as if it's with photos. Okay. You need to make some space above. So if the first thing you have is a photo, you need to push it down. How do you do that? By going up and hitting some returns. All right. You want to try it? You want to share your screen and try it so I can walk you through it?
I'm doing it on another computer.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Okay. So, all right. I'm looking at at the questions, no other questions on the question list. Okay.
Deanna, I have a question on the shared albums.
Yes, Dorothy.
Do they have to have a Mac to get the link from a shared album? So I have a Mac Pro, and if I share an album with my daughter who has an
PC.
HP or something,
Not 100% sure of that one.
okay,
Because I shared an album with 5 of my friends from school I took photos of my time in our, when I was in Argentina. I scanned a lot of photos of when we were teenagers, and I created a shared album and I sent the invitation to everyone. And I know that most of them don't have iPhones or, Macs,
Mhm.
and most of them were able to read them, except for one person who told me, oh, I can't access it because I have Google Photos. So I was already here. I didn't have time to share and show. So I'm not 100% sure. I think she was trying to access it through Google Photos. If you just click on the link I give you, you should be
Mhm.
able to just, all you do is you open up a window that's private for a link that only the person who clicks on that link, and then it just opens up. You don't have to have,
Oh,
as
I
far
could
as
just
I
try
know,
it
you don't
on
have to,
my daughter.
but try it with one photo and tell me, and then tell me
Yeah.
next Friday,
Sure, sounds good.
because it's a link that
Mhm.
arrives to her, and it shouldn't be, it shouldn't be. Okay, so over here where it says shared, right there, you can create a shared album. So you can go up here to file, share, create a shared album from there. Because in Yolanda's, she had like already many shared albums, so she just had a plus over here. But I don't have a shared album set up here, so I would have to go up to file, share, create my shared album. Oh, it's just that the iCloud has to be turned on in preference. Okay, I guess in my preference in this one I have. So if you don't have shared albums turned on, there we go. I just didn't have my shared albums turned on. Okay, so now I can make shared albums. There you go. I guess I did. Oh, here's the example. These are the photos that I told you. See, the shared albums are there. If I click, this is the album I made with all the photos of all my photos. I scanned photos of when it's taken a little bit to pop up because I just opened it, but this is a bunch of photos of when we were in high school that I scanned and put in this shared album. Okay. Now I can see them, and every one of these girls, it's 5, I call them girls, of course, because these are my high school girls. All 5 of them have the link, and so they can add photos, and they did already. And I mean, you can choose if you want them to add or delete or not. I left it open so that they could keep adding photos. So now it's all of our albums, you know what I mean? Even though it began here. So there you go. So yeah, tell me,
Does it go to Google as a shared album? Is that how it gets shared?
no.
Through
No.
email.
So if I create, I shared it with these people when I made it.
Mhm.
Like when I created this album, I shared it. So with those people. So I believe you can add it later, but when you create it, you create the shared album and you invite the people. So you put
Okay.
their email address here,
Mhm.
and then you say create, and they're gonna get an email with a link.
Mhm.
Let me create this shared album, test shared album. Since it's myself at pipeline.sbcc.edu, I'm gonna send it to me. Testing a shared album. I'm gonna create that. So if I go to my school email now, sbcc.edu, actually, I could do it through my mail. Really quick, let me sign in. Just gonna show you what people get, email. Here, Diana Musacchio, I got an email saying, subscribe to Diana Musacchio's test shared album. You're
Mhm.
invited to view these shared photos and post your own videos. Other subscribers will see your email when you join. Subscribe. So DE Musacchio,
Mhm.
which is not my iCloud account, so they don't know I'm the same person. I'm gonna hit subscribe. To subscribe to channel on your or Mac, open your invitations in the app, click the subscribe button in the message. Need to sign in with 10 or later. It does seem to imply that you need to be on the iCloud, and this account, I told you, is not my real account, and I'm not set up with
Oh,
my
okay.
same phone. I've read Mac. It does seem to me that you need an iCloud. I was not aware of that. But my mom can see these. And she doesn't have a Mac.
Well, I'll try it with my daughter and see what happens and let you know.
Yeah, well, I myself don't seem to be able to.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because the email I sent it to does not have an iCloud account. Or is it because I have this computer set up with, it would seem that it needs to be an iCloud account. I'll look it up. You know, actually, can Apple Photos shared albums be seen by PC by Windows users? Yeah. You shared photo albums on iCloud for Windows. Can non-iPhone users? Yeah, they can see them, but they can't add them.
Oh, okay.
You shared photo albums in iCloud for Windows. So how do I share it? So just do a Google and enable photo
okay,
share,
okay.
launch the photos, click share that, share your album up. So anyway, read these up and then you'll find the solution. One of these will show you the solution. So
Thank you.
there is a way. I know that my husband has a PC and he downloaded iCloud for Windows on his PC, right? So that's one way to see him on the iCloud for Windows. It's an app you download it and you're saying you open up iCloud for Windows and then you can see them. But if you don't do that, maybe there's another solution here. How can I share it on my phone? Anyway, so read some of these and then tell me. It's a good question. I'd like to know. I don't know the answer to that. Okay.
Yeah, I will.
Cool. So
Yeah, and I've been using Mac Mail since I got my first Mac 12 years ago, and I never knew about that photo symbol at the very top right
Oh.
corner. Thank you for
Okay,
turning me on to
you're
that.
welcome. Well, I'm not sure that it's been there for 12 years. Maybe it wasn't there 12 years ago. I don't know. But now I mean, I'm sure it was there many years ago, but I don't know if it's been there from the beginning, but there. There it is. And you can bring in,
Deanna, this is
oh
Bill.
geez, yes,
I still have that problem with the system photos or the system albums.
yeah. So I told you that I'd
I
help
go
you
to it and
today.
it says you can't use them. I can't even go back to that anymore.
Yeah, so he has another issue. Go ahead and share your screen. The album that comes up is your system album and sorry, library. And most of you don't have this issue. You won't. But Bill has a couple of different libraries. So do I. A couple of different libraries. So go to photos. Hold on, don't click yet. Click on your go down again to the dock. And then before you click on the Photos app, hold down your Option key. Then it tells you which one. And stop, don't move. See how up here it says iPhotos library, system photos library? In that library, he doesn't have any photos. He's using a different one called alternate photos libraries 2 that he created for whatever reason. So what he needs to do is make this one be his system album, okay? Most of you don't have this issue unless you have many photos libraries, which he has for whatever, I'm not even go backwards to explain all the years of stuff that he's been doing this, but I'd say only 1 or 2 of you might have more photos libraries. In which case, then what we need to do is change and make the alternate photos library to his system album, okay, his system library. So now go ahead and say choose library, and we're going to show you where to do that. And then now go up to photos preferences. Okay, and then down here say use as system photos library. So basically it's showing your alternate photos. Second up at the top, it says show in Finder, and then on the right, there's a button right there. Yeah, you just skipped it. Move on. Yeah, use as system photo library. So you're basically telling your computer that this is now your system's photos library. Okay.
Terrific. Thank you so much.
Now, when you open up your mail, let's go see. I mean, I don't know if it'll take a little bit of time or not to change, but go ahead and open up your mail now. And let's see if you start making a new message. So click on create new message, kind of on the right side middle. It changed. Yeah, now it's
There we go.
yeah, the new,
All right.
yeah, a little bit to the right. Yeah.
Yes.
Now go to the little photos icon on the top right, photos icon top right. Further to the right. You might have Zoom stuff in the way. Move this window over a little bit to the
Yeah.
left. There you go. So there it is. Go to photos now.
There
And
we go.
there they are. All your people, your shared, your albums, all your stuff.
Perfect.
It just only goes to that. Okay, you're welcome. I told him that he showed me this the other day and I'm like, I'm teaching something different. I'll show you when we're in the photos class. So, all right. If anyone else tries it and doesn't see their photos, that's what you need to do. Review this little bit of the video. Okay. All right. Or ask me for help next week because I'm still one more week. Guys, next week is the last class. Also, next week registration opens. I need to find a time to put together the email to tell you what are my classes for next session. And let me say, go ahead and sign up for the classes. Right now they're showing up as in person, but I'm not sure that I'll follow through with that. I'm very, very much tempted to, I can still switch. Even though they say online, on person right now, I can switch this to online. If I do switch and you can't do them, then just, that's fine, don't do them. If I do stay in person and you can come, great. And if you can't, then yeah, I need to, hopefully I get it. And there's a lot happening this week with my family. My host daughter's going back to Brazil, visitors are coming, but I need to try to put together a little survey where I try to reach out to all my students, past and present, to see for the ones who haven't come back, if they're not coming back because they're done learning, or if they're not coming back because of the location, and to see how that affects them. But I haven't done that yet, and I keep saying I'll do it. I'll try to do it next week. Other than that, right now, sign up for the class. And those of you who, if you're interested in taking it, by the way, but if those of you who can't make it in person, then by the time I make that decision, I'll let you know. I think it has to do with how things are going with this new variant, how comfortable people are feeling going back to school or not. I have been living here in my house and I only go out shopping, I really, since I'm working from here, I'm going out very little, but other people are out and about all the time by now. So I don't know how students feel about it, right? Because maybe you're all like me, kind of hermits in your house, or maybe you've all been happily living your normal life with masks and you're happy to go to school. I don't know. I'm going to try to get you guys to answer a survey and see how you feel about it. Okay. Even if we do meet in person, it would be with masks, by the way, and open doors, open windows. Everyone should bring warm stuff. And they have like these fans now in the classrooms to move stuff around and yada, yada, to ventilate the rooms correctly. Okay. So let me share again my screen. So basically what we just did with the questions that were asked were part of what I wanted to share screen isn't shared yet, which is basically what do you do with these photos if you want to send them, share them, email them. So hopefully everyone tried. The ideal would be that you select from inside, you hit this little guy there and you mail. Now, some of you guys might see over here things like Facebook and Instagram, because you can set them up. I don't have mine set up, especially in this account, but there is a way to set them up. I'm not sure if it's from here. If I go to more, I believe here you can add other apps and stuff like that, all third-party extensions, and you can add things, right? Not really sure where you would add that. Here I'm looking at this and not really being, so it's not from here. Clearly use Apple and third party. So I don't know where you would add that, but you can technically add some other places here. Now, say that you love one of these photos so much that you want it to be your desktop picture. Let me share my entire screen. So right now I have this basic, Catalina Island app, and say I wanted to make this be my whole screen. I could go up here and I could say set as desktop picture. And there you go. See how my desktop is now that picture? Okay. I could choose, that photo and set as desktop picture. And now there's my desktop. So that you can do from in here. Okay. You can also, I'm going to open up my system preferences. You can go to your system preferences. And this, I'm not going to have you do, just watch this one. And if you're interested, come and watch how to do it, because this is from outside. But I could go to my desktop and screensaver. And from here, it'll ask me what desktop pictures do I want, and see how it's opening up my photos as a choice. And in photos, I can go to one of my albums and set up my entire album of family winter trips, for example, and have these be, or all my Marinari photos. And so I can have all of these be them. I'll say change picture every 5 minutes, or, every 5 seconds, which will drive me and everyone crazy. But you see how all the photos of the albums that I've made, I can then have it switching in the background. Okay. So you can have a photo of Thanksgiving, photos of Thanksgiving, or an album of your favorite family photos or something like that. And you can have it going back and forth in here, which is how I have it in my, when I share people my real computer, I have photos of my family and they're changing I think I have them change every minutes or something like that. And I have a folder that I made, an album, sorry, that I made in my Photos app that's got photos that I want to see going back and forth. Okay. So that said, if you only want one photo, you can just do this, which is really quick, and set the desktop picture. Okay. What else can you do? So this is this little icon. You can mail stuff from here. You can make shared albums. Messages. Again, I'm not going to do it. If I set this messages here, I don't have my messages set up. So you have to have it connected, but this is a text. So I can text. This is basically texting from your computer. Okay. So you send it to whoever it is you're texting to, they'll get it as a text on their phone. That's what messages is. AirDrop, I taught in the Mac class. It's when you have someone right next to you and there's the same Wi-Fi. So for example, when right before I came back from Argentina, my sister was in the same room in the same Wi-Fi at my mom's house, and we opened AirDrop and I sent her, boom, 200 photos in an instant, because through AirDrop, you don't have to send them. You just share them this way, and 200 photos just go and they show up in the other person's, So, but this implies that you are right next to the other person using in the same Wi-Fi. Okay. So basically it's someone who you're nearby. So right now, there doesn't work to demo that. You can put it in, make a note out of it. So for example, I'll go and I'll take photo. I don't have a sample here, but it's typical for me to if I go to a store and I say, "Ooh, I liked this," and I take a photo of it, and I'll make a note to remind myself, for example, I don't know, a gift idea for someone. Okay. So I make a note for it, so it appears in my notes. And again, I'm not completing them, but basically it's just for those of you who've been taking my Mac classes, pick up from what I'm saying. Those of you who haven't been taking my Mac classes, maybe all of this is a little bit over your head, but these are all apps that come with the Mac. You can set it as a reminder, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So I'm going to let that be, but just so you know, this is all very shareable within the Mac system. All right. Before I move on, any question? So here's a smart album that I made once that I thought was really cool. Someone asked me, how do I know what I didn't organize yet if I didn't put it in albums, right? And I have thousands of photos and I don't have that many in albums, right? As I said, I have some albums, but I do a lot of keywords and stuff. But sometimes you just want to know if a photo or not is in an album. So this is I'm going to do a right click edit. This is a smart album where the conditions are album is not in any. So basically, right now, all my photos, I only have 342 items in an album, but I have 30,800 photos that are not in an album. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So then when I want to see if a photo is in an album or not, I'll go, oh, I should have this one in an album, and I'll just drag it. Oh, I should have it. There's just, of course, there's a ton of them that are not, but at least you know which ones you do or don't have. For some people, it matters if they have a series of photos, you know, all of these photos of pottery. Oh, did I forget to put one that really matters? Then this would be, looks like these are the ones that did not make it in. Okay. So I just thought I'd share that one because it's a really good. So remember, if you want to make an album, you click here and one could be a smart album. And then that one would be album is not any. And then change the name to that. And those would be the settings. Okay. To find photos that have not been put in an album. All right. Or photos that don't have a keyword, right? Because you could also have said keyword does not have keywords or stuff like that. Okay. Running through little things that I wanted to complete, things that have been talked about before. All right. I want to do a little bit more photo editing. Did that alarm ring for is it already break time?
Yes, it
Yeah.
rang.
Wow, time flies. I was feeling so not good this morning. And it was like every second of the class was like extending itself into 25. But today I'm like, woo, I'm feeling so much better. So it's 2:13. So let's take our break. Be back by 2. Oh, it's already 2:14. I was late.
29.
2:30.
See you guys very near 2:30.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, Therese. We're on break. So thanks for joining us. We're gonna be back at to 2:30 or 2:29, okay? Give me a little thumbs up or something if you heard me. All right. Hi there. Come on back. It's time to continue. It's time. All right. So if you hear my voice, come on back to the computer. Come on back to the computer. All right. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and keep working a little bit on some editing. So let's go ahead and open. Right now what I have is, oh, let me share my screen first. That would always be useful. There we go. All right. So actually, before I continue on editing, is there any question left out there as to what to do with these photos if you want to print them or send them to someone? Nope. You already, what's that? Someone started to speak.
Nope.
Oh, it was a no. Okay. The one thing that we can't, well, how many of you take videos on your phone or your camera? Okay, those of you who either didn't raise your hands or whose videos are off, so I can't see, you have some homework. Take some videos. Now, so there's your homework. Now, don't take long videos. They'll take up tons of space. As you saw, a 50-second video that Yolanda had at 64 megabytes. Take short videos, but take different videos of the same thing. So say you are on a walk. Go ahead and take a couple of videos. Don't move too much. Stop walking, right? And you see a beautiful tree or a plant or a flower. Just move gently as you approach it. Take a video of that. Then if you're actually having something, then on the beach, shoot some waves in one direction, then stand in the other direction and shoot some waves. And then from the front, then do a little pan, like with your body, move around to see the people on the beach. Just shoot 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 of something that we can put together, splice together as a movie. So maybe you shoot, maybe you're out with your grandkids and you take a picture of them playing on the beach. Then you approach and you take a little video of only one of them building a sandcastle. Then you take a little video of someone else's dirty face because they had ice cream. Just take 2 or 3 or 4 shots of something. And or if you don't do that, that's okay. Just take any video of anything, because next week we're going to be editing videos. And in the past, or when you're at school, I give you videos, but videos are very big. I don't want to be sending you videos. So I want you to have at least 3 videos in your computer. If you have 10, we have 10, but if you have 3, we have 3. Does that make sense? Ideally 3 to 5. Okay. And ideally, if you put them together, if they are of the something that you would like to put together, maybe you take maybe you walk outside the Museum of Art, then you take a video of a piece of art. Do they let you inside the museum? Of one piece that you really feel more attracted to, then you do a little pan of the entire room that you were in. There you go, 3 videos of the story of your visit to the museum that day, right? Or the farmer's market. That would be very colorful. Okay, Vera, your hand is up. No, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I was just responding to the previous question.
Oh, thank you. All right. So basically, the whole question is just what, it wasn't about how many of you do videos. Rather, I need you to have some videos. So if you do videos, then that's fine. We can use the ones you have. But if you want to do something that's congruent, put together a little album with videos of that you took in 2 or 3 different occasions of the same person. And then we can put together a little video of that person, right? So it's up to you. You don't need to do something new. It could be videos that you already have. And it's a video of your son when he was, 5, and then another one when he was 10, another when he was 15, and we just compare them. Just worst case scenario, any old 3 videos, because my point is to teach you how to put some things together to make them into a little mini movie. And it's up to you what you'll get out of it, what video you'll get out of it. But gather this week material to make a video out of something. Anita, your hand is up. Or was that also just the answer to the fact that you have videos? If you're answering, your sound is off, so I can't hear you. But since I can't see your face, I don't know if you're answering. I just know that your hand is up. All right, well, Anita, if you can hear me. I don't know why your hand is up. I'm trying to respond to your up hand, but no answer. So if you ever get your sound up and you can answer me, then go ahead and interrupt me. All right, so that's in prep for next week, okay? Now, back to editing. So remember that when we were doing editing last week, I had asked you to find some photos that you might want to edit. So that was your homework for this week. But, 2 weeks with Thanksgiving in between, you might have forgotten. So if you didn't put any videos aside that you want to edit, I made a little album here called To Edit, and I threw some things in there. If you didn't do that, then that's fine. Go and choose now a few photos that you think you might want to edit, or just open anything and we'll see what we can apply. So I want to show you a few of the other things that are available for you for editing. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a feature that, done carefully, could be pretty cool. So our eyes tend to kind of wander out of an image a lot when there's flat edges. So over here is an example of an image that has like edges that are all the same outside. Here would be another example where you have like the item centered right in the middle and there's a lot of little space around, maybe this one. And one thing that helps us when we're sharing a photo, make it look a little bit better, is to add a little vignette. So open anything that has a central image. If you find something that has a central image, maybe one flower, and if not, open anything. It doesn't matter. We'll try it on whatever you have. So go ahead and to open it in the editing mode, we're going to double click on it and it gets big. And once it's gotten big, then we can hit edit. So last week we had used, wait, these are all open. We haven't used these with you guys yet. Last week we had used only, here, need to close them close so you'll find them. I think we had used only mainly light, right? Is the main one that we used last week. And I had opened up to show you how there's so much you can do with light. Or if you have no idea where to start, just hit the little auto. And yeah, it made a bit of a difference. Nothing really important, but from before, where all these things were there, and this says auto, something's changed enough that see how all these little things went back and forth. So this is something that the computer decided this photo needed. I might be in agreement or not, but right now I'm not going to do light again. So let's say that I leave that option on. I'm going to collapse it from the word light so that it's a little bit out of my way, but I know that that feature is being used. The light is being modified because I have a little check mark, but I know that the rest aren't being used because I don't have check marks on them, right? So now, if it's something that's central, like this one is a central image, it is bothersome when the edges are not like the same. Like it bothers me that there's less space here than that. Might bother you or not. But for this vignette thing, and just to practice cropping, I'm going to go ahead and go to the crop. And I'm just gonna move this in a little bit on these two sides to feel like it's a little bit more centered. And you see these guides appear to help me kind of figure out if it's centered, and I can move it up or down. So anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and move it a little bit like that. Just so you know, these cross points, this image is centered, so it makes no difference. But see where these lines cross right there, it keeps turning off. So I need to come back right there and right there. Those are the points where you might want to put the points of interest. When a photo is centered, I just told you to open a centered one, so it isn't really that important. But in another photo, when things aren't centered, consider that if someone's eyes are here, it's better than if they're here. Ideally, you don't take photos of people standing in the center looking at you. You try to put them a little bit to one side. So you might want to put them here and here versus right in the center. But anyway, in this case, it is about a centered image. So I'm just modifying this a little bit to center it a little bit more using the guides. And if I'm done, I'll just say done. Okay. So you might have had to center yours or not a little bit. I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. Done turns everything off. More than done. You just want to move to the adjustment buttons. Now, if you did say done, because I told you to say done, just edit again. Click on edit again, because I did say done. All right. Please stop me if I lose you. Like I explained the whole print and all that pretty fast, and I don't know if I lost someone. And if so, if you just went, oh, well, I'll just listen. And it really matters to me that you get something out of the class, and that if you had a question, that someone else had a question, and so I answered them and you didn't get it, then please follow up with that and ask me again so that I can make sure to clear it up for you.
I lost the vignette, Diana. I don't see that on here. Somehow I lost it.
Well, I haven't yet. You mean this here is
I
not
don't
there
even
for
see
you?
it.
Well, do you have many of these open? If a lot of these are open, it could be you get to the point where you don't see it because
Okay.
it's out of, like, if
Oh,
you have
it's
a
right at the
ton,
bottom. I see it right at
it's
the
way
bottom.
open. So I'm gonna close everything up, but if you've opened up a bunch, see how you have to
Gotcha.
scroll up to find it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna close everything, in fact, because I don't want everything open because it's really confusing for that reason. But I just wanted to show you how you can lose something is because it opened up so much that it's way, in which case you need to
Right.
scroll up and down.
Okay.
Okay, so now what I'm going to have us do is I'm going to have us go to the bottom choice, the vignette, okay, and open up vignette. And you don't need to do this little arrow. You can just click on the word vignette and that opens it up too, okay? Collapse and expand or open and close, or just click on this and it opens. So over here, our eyes might want to wander off, okay? Especially if there's something lighter. There's a little light spot here. If there's any light sky, your eyes want to wander off. So vignette really helps to focus your eyes in. So I'm going to go over here. And first, I don't know, whatever settings you have in your vignette is whichever last ones you use. So if you've never used it, it's the basic default settings. But say that you have already used it, then the vignette you'll have is based on the last time you used it. So I'm going to go ahead and first start with strength. And I'm going to go ahead and move this far out to the right or far to the left. And to the left, it's a white vignette. See how my edges are going white? Some people want better like that, or I'm going to go way to the other side and my edges are going black. Okay, now I might want, depending on your photo, more or less of a vignette. I find that a subtle vignette is all you need. When you begin to see little black corners, that's, as far as I'm concerned, too much. But I'm going to make it really dark right now because I want to show you these other two so you can see them better. You can't see these better if you don't have a very stark vignette. So go ahead and go all the way to the right to have a very stark one. And then look at the softness. I can make it really soft and gentle, or it can be pretty sharp just to the corners. And then I can make it radius really big or really small. See? So I can make it be really tight, and this is really dark and tight, and I can make it softer. So as you can see, when you make these really tight and dark, you can see more. What I'm talking about a vignette, this would be horrible, by the way, you should never do that. But maybe you want a vignette that's going to be pretty much encapsulating the shape that you have, and then you bring it down, and then you basically have darkened the entire table in this case. Or not, maybe you just really wanted something that was only the corners and you don't want so much of it. Okay, so you can play around with how much of this you want or don't want in the dark modes. And when you really see your vignette, then you go, okay, I'm done. Then you bring it back down. You go back to 0 and then you just move it up a little bit. And it's subtle. It's subtle, but people's eyes stay inside. But I don't see little black corners here. If I get to the point where I see little black corners, sometimes it works, but for the most part, usually it doesn't. And in this case, these look darker than that. So then it begins to look kind of weird. So just as a warning, because a lot of people get excited and start doing these really dark vignettes and they don't usually look that good. Just a little bit is enough to make our eyes lead in and you're not even aware that they're there. But if you do a before and after, turn this on or off, they are there. Okay. Now you might have chosen a picture where the vignette makes much of a difference or not. If you chose a picture where you have a very bright sky and a very dark bottom, then the vignette is going to have a hard time because there's too much difference between the top and the bottom. So for some of you guys, it might work better than another. Try it on different photos and see where you do or not like them and how much you like it or not. I'm going to close a vignette. And right now, as you can see, there's two changes that I've made to this, right? If I decide I never really wanted my vignette, but I want to keep the settings just in case, all I can do is turn this off. This is the before and the after. But the light changes are still there. If I want to change my light changes, which are pretty subtle, I turn it on and off, and then this is the only thing that gets changed. If I were to now hit reset adjustments, everything goes back to 0. It's equivalent to saying revert to original, like I lose everything, okay? Well, actually, if I go revert to original, I also lose the cropping. If I do reset adjustments, I just lose the adjustments, but the cropping will stay. So be careful with that. If you just say, I just didn't like the vignette, turn it off, just turn it off, but don't reset the adjustments because you'll also lose if you made a lot more work on the other stuff, okay? So say that we choose one more thing to do here. Say that, let's assume that this is someone's face that has a lot of blemishes or something. Let's say that these little black spots there shouldn't be on this table, right? In this case, so find a photo where there's some spots or something that you might want to take care of. So say that I didn't want these little spots there. There's a little tool called retouch here. It is not awesome, but it is not bad. For little tiny things, it's really good. What you can't do is retouch big things. Those of you who've taken Photoshop with me, you can retouch some really big stuff in Photoshop. But here, you open this retouch thing, or you just push retouch, and you can change the size of your mouse. And see when I move this there, see this big circle? Or when I move it down, it's a tiny circle. So I recommend getting as small a circle as you need for it to be just a bit bigger than your blemish. So say that little blemish has to go. I'll click on it and it's gone. Maybe I'll make it a tiny bigger for this one, and then I'll click right there, maybe drag a teensy bit, and it's gone. So this works for little things. It doesn't work if, say, you want to take this whole thing off. It probably might, this is such a blurry general image that it's possible that it might work to do that, but I don't think so. No, it just left a different line that's not as good. I'm going to undo. It's not good for really big stuff. Maybe you wanted like this whole line to disappear and to look like it's, see how it just does weird stuff. So, but for little spots, it's really good. Okay, so find something that has little spots, maybe a tablecloth or a portrait where you have some dog hair on your shoulder, or, you know, things like that, or a blemish on your face. Just make it really tiny, and then it works. So now I'm gonna, let me focus here. I'm gonna take a bunch more off of here, and then I'm gonna do the before and after so that we can see. Now be careful when you have dark edges like this, that won't work very well. So this area had a lot of little blemishes, and now I'm gonna do before and after. See there, focus on this little bit right there. And this is me turning it on and off. Pretty good, huh? Pretty cool. I'm gonna go ahead and make that bigger so that you can see just
Diana,
that.
I don't see how you're getting that little circle, little white circle on
Okay.
the blemish.
So I'm going here to the retouch, making it as big or as small as I need it. Okay. And I'm gonna move this.
What is that? Your cursor?
This is my cursor. So if I click on something like this big, then all of that gets changed. And that's usually a horrible idea. So you want to make it smaller. So this is only as big as the blemish there. And it's my cursor, it's my mouse. Okay. So you make this bigger or smaller with your mouse. I'm going, this is my mouse doing that. And I'm
I
going to make
got
it small enough. And now I'm going to go and click on that little guy.
Okay.
And then on that little guy, and then on that little guy. Okay. Which these aren't really blemishes in the case of this pottery. It's part of the beauty of the picture, but just showing you if this were a face. So here, I took a lot of blemishes off this piece of wood. And now look at the before and after. To see the before and after, I just turn this little eye check mark on and off. You see how many things I took off there? Pretty cool. So go ahead and try that on something that you might have things to fix. And then ask me questions or share. So when I say done, that image now is going to have these little sliders saying that it's been edited. And remember, if I don't think I like them, I can turn on. Oh, I ended up leaving them on. So I'm going to turn this on and I say done. And now it stays as an edited image without those little blemishes on the table. Okay. Yeah, question?
So I am on the, I flip on the retouch, and then there was the size. And so which one do you drag? How do you drag the brush to the face?
Okay, so one thing that might be missing, that's true, is that I didn't tell you here. I forgot that I had mine on already in that mode. Sorry. So I see now the question and why someone else had the question. This little button here, if I don't have it turned on, then I have a little hand. See, that lets me move around my picture. So over here, I didn't show you this yet. This is seeing all your image. If you move up, you approach it. But if your blemish is over there, then here, this lets you go over there. Or you can get even bigger. And then you go over like that. Okay. So you can get closer and closer. So here you get 100%, for 100% where everything is going to look soft and blurry because you're going ahead. Sometimes you need for a little detail. Then I'm going to go back to this mode. I'm going to go for this little spot, or I'm going to go bigger so you guys can see the detail. Okay, so I'm going to go for that spot. Then I have to click on this brush. I apologize. Mine was already in that brush mode. Then you find your cursor. Okay, so then the cursor comes over and I'll just do like that.
Oh,
And I'll get rid of that little spot.
yeah.
I'll get rid of that little spot. Okay.
Hmm.
And then you make it even smaller and you maybe get rid of that little line there. I don't know. There's that one. See, that one didn't work. So I go to Command Z and I undo that. Go back down. And then again, here's the before and after. So now I'm getting rid of a ton of little blemishes. There's one thing here that I don't like. All right. So does it work now that I explained? I'm sorry, I didn't explain that this here, when it's on or off, it makes a difference. When it's off, it's black, nothing happens. It's zero happening. And I see how come you guys are like, how do you make it work? Because when it's black and you're seeing the entire image, nothing happens. But when you're scooched in, this is when you move around. Okay, so if you scooched in, which for retouching, usually you do scooch in, you should. Then you turn it on, make it white, make your little mouse be the size of your blemish, and then you go and you do it. Just do a teensy short line is okay, but many big lines, that begins to be a problem.
I thank you for showing us that, but if we have more complicated questions, should we sign up for your Photoshop class instead?
Oh, it's actually, if you need to do much more retouching than what a little spot can do, then definitely Photoshop is way better, but it's a much more complicated program. You need to want and need Photoshop in order to, to use it. But yeah, if you need a lot more work done on a photo, like old photos that have been scratched and really need to be fixed and stuff like that, that you want to, yeah, that needs Photoshop.
Okay.
This is good for some basic stuff. Sometimes there's a little thing like that, or a pimple right on the side of someone's face, the forehead, the day of their wedding. You can just, but if it's a really nice portrait, you're going to print really big, then you have to be careful with faces and stuff. So just be Just use it for
Deanna?
certain things. Yes.
Where's the before and after again?
So the little, now my retouch has a little check mark because I've used it. None of them have, I've used the vignette, I've used the retouch, I've used the light. So if I turn this off, that's full of little spots. If I turn it on, no spots because I've retouched them out.
Great, thanks.
Okay, so that's the before and after. So now I can choose all the work I've done. I can say, well, I'll say done. I look at it and I go, yeah, it's fine, but maybe I want to work on the vignette again. Or it's fine, but I want to do some more retouching. There's some spots over here. So you go edit and you go back to retouch and you keep retouching. If you decided that what you wanted to do was retouching, you go in here and now you just do a little bit more retouching over here. But if you decide, you know what, I kind of preferred it with its pimples and its moles and its spots or whatever, all the work I did, that's fine. But actually I prefer it without that. I just turn it off and I say done. And there I have all the spots back. So this is all non-destructive. Okay. There's no change really happened to my photo other than, and I can always go back and turn it on again. I don't lose everything I've done. Just a matter of turn it on again.
But
Okay.
Diane, you wanted to retain the original and then the one that you retouched. What do you do? Do we take a picture and say
No,
it's-
no, remember that we talked about this last week. Here we wanted to, I wanted two versions of these hands, the one that was the big and the one that was cropped. So what you can do now is you can, if you didn't do it ahead of time, you can duplicate it now. You
Okay.
can right click and duplicate one photo. Both of them have the retouching. I can open one of them now, edit, and on this one, turn all the retouching off, or even say reset adjustments. So this is my original, or even revert to original. So it even takes the cropping out. So now I have two photos. I have the one that I just retouched. I wish this, they're not next to each other. So it's kind of, here's the retouched one. And here's the non-retouched one. And right now, since they're kind of on two sides of the screen, it's hard to show you that. But anyway,
Got it.
let me show them to you bigger. By the way, this little slider here, just want you to see it because it works here too. You can see these really small, semi-small, or big. Okay, so here now I have the two, the retouched. It's so small, it's hard to tell, but you see how I have little black dots in there. And here I have the non. So this one is full of black dots, so it's the original. And here is the one that's retouched, and it has a little vignette. If you look in here, it's a bit darker here than there. So it's a subtle change. This was a subtle correction, but this is the retouched one, and you can see it because it has this little set of sliders there versus this one doesn't. All right.
Can you show two photos in full size, side by side? Or
No.
No.
Mm-mm. You can show that one and then move to the next one, but you can't show two side by side. Oh, sorry. You can go and do one after the other, one after the other. But in this case, since I also had cropped the before and after, like I have them both big, and with my arrows, I'm going right, left, right, left. So I'm seeing before and after, but since I had also cropped, it's hard to see the exact. Let me go to the to this one and edit, take the cropping out. Let me undo the crop. There you go. So now I took the crop out, and now I should be able to go before and after for the exact same photo. This was blemishes, so to call them, and this is vignette and no blemishes. Okay, so this is before and after. And what I've done is I have them next to each other, right? And when I hit the space bar to see one big, now I can hit the right arrow to see the next one and back, right and back. Okay. And then you keep both, but you have duplicated the amount of photos space. So if your settings are minimal like that, you might want to just keep one because you can always revert them, right? Now, if it's a big change, like between this photo and this photo, you've made a big change, then maybe you want to keep both. I don't know. Or if you always are unsure, keep both. And as I said, they're always reversible. Okay. Questions, or for someone for whom it did or didn't work? Comments? No?
Nope.
Retouching and vignetting is good. All right.
Yes.
I'm going to go back And now choose something that's pretty colorful. So this is very colorful, but it's one color. So if you have something colorful that's more colors, it's probably better. So here I have more colors. Here I have quite a few more colors. Maybe here. This seems to be very colorful. So I'm going to go with this one. Try to find a photo that has many colors on it. Okay, everyone found one? It doesn't necessarily need to spend too much time looking for one. You can then put this skills onto a photo you really want to fix. Right now, just I want to teach you the skills. Okay, so let's go ahead and edit it. Hit the edit. Hello.
Okay, to share a very old photo with some,
Yeah.
okay.
Any photo. In fact, old photos that are pretty discolored are pretty good to fix here because you can work on saturation. The kind, when the color starts fading away. In fact, thanks for saying that, because I remember I do have some stuff in those shared albums that are old photos. It'd be interesting to see one of these photos, for example. See how color kind of is gone. Let me see. Oh, it's not in my library. I have to import it. So I'll import it. I'll use it later. Okay, it got imported over here. Let me put it in the edit. I'll try it later. But for now, let's go for a colorful one, and then I'll go see what I can do with that one. Okay, which one had I decided to use? This one? No. Oh, this one. Okay, edit. So first of all, you might want to test what the computer thinks you might need to do, and you hit this little magic wand. And when you hit the magic wand, it lit up two areas. It fixed something in light and it fixed something in color. You click this magic wand again, and it's because you don't want the computer's help. But now that you know what these things are, it's basically decided that I needed some fixings of light and some fixings of color. I can be, in agreement or not, but maybe it would have found some other things to fix, but that's what it fixed. And if I open up light, I see what it did with light. If I open up color, I see that it moved some color here and there. Okay. I'm not necessarily caring about that kind of color right now. I want to show you this one, selective color. It's kind of funny. It's kind of fun. So go to selective color. Open it up. And you have some choices here. When you look at these these colors, actually, I said no, it's not, but let me just show you this. I thought I had shown you color before, but I didn't really show you color too much last time. Did I show you color last time?
No.
No. So let's go to this color first a little bit then. Sorry, leave this one open or not, but let's go to the actual color here. So this one here, without being turned on or on, see how it's a little bit brighter? It's very subtle, the change is a little bit brighter on the pants. Most of the rest hasn't changed, okay? So what's happening here is that there's three different sliders. Let's go ahead and reset this little, just the color, whatever photos you did, reset this little slider so it just resets. If you had any choice, anything happening there, let me show each one of these individually. First of all, let's see what saturation does. Saturation makes every single color more saturated. So if I move this to the right, very far right, see how everything got kind of like, whoa, neon color. It's like, wah, 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 wah. Blaring. All the colors really saturated. If I move this all the way to the left, I lost all color. It's desaturated to the point that I'm in black and white. Okay, so saturation boosts the color or gets rid of the color. In fact, if you move sideways a little bit, that starts looking a little bit like a photo from the 60s or something like that, where it's faded out. Okay, so that's what saturation does. But the thing about saturation is it does it to all the colors at the same time. So even if you like the t-shirt and the pants better here, the hair begins to look orange or the skin begins to look weird. So you have to be careful with saturation because it saturates everything equally. I'm going to put it back at 0. Contrast, on the other hand, for those of you who do Photoshop with me, this is equivalent to vibrance in Photoshop. It decides what needs more color and what doesn't. If it thinks this is vibrant enough, it won't change it. But if it thinks this doesn't have enough, it'll change it. So if I go up to contrast, look at the kid's pants right there. And I move contrast, see how much the pants are changing? But if you look at other colors aren't changing so much. Their hair isn't even being touched. See? So it's kind of like more discriminatory. It only boosts colors that need boosting and it leaves alone the ones that are already boosted enough. Okay. So this one's a little bit better and it never turns skin bright orange the way saturation did. I can move it all the way to the top and the skin still looks like skin. Okay. So you don't necessarily need to go all the way to the top, but it's more subtle. If you don't have any humans in the photo you chose, you might not notice this, but it's human skin that it protects and it gives you a little more.
Mine doesn't say contrast, it says vibrance.
Oh, yours says vibrance. Okay, you have a newer version than me. In Photoshop, this is called vibrance. So
Yeah.
and I can see that in the new one, they fixed it.
They
Yeah,
fixed-
mine too.
I'm in Catalina. You probably have Big Sur or Monterey.
Yeah.
So it's good to know. See, I was telling you what it's called in the actual official program, vibrance, and I'm glad you said that. Let me put contrast back in the middle and put back in the middle so you can always clean them up. And then cast, you can have a color cast to a photo depending on the light. You might have stuff that's too green or too blue. So if you move them to the right, making it magenta, move it to the left, you're making it blue. So you need to have your eyes a bit more trained in color to decide which one of these is good. I would hit auto because, and when you hit auto, see color cast didn't seem to go anywhere. In this case, put a little bit more saturation to all the colors, and then they went a little bit higher on the contrast for the pants. And I think that was a good correction for mine. You don't want to go too bright, too intense, because it looks weird. Anyway, so that's what you can do with color. Okay, so that was the first color. Now let's head down to selective color. This one would be good if you have different colors in the photo. So I have some magenta-ish kind of, magenta is what we call the cyan, kind of very bright light blue. Blue would be more of the pants. This is a mixture between red and yellow because it's orange, purple, and stuff like that. Green has a lot of yellow in it, especially in California, the Golden State. Our green is more brown. So here's the thing. If I know the color I'm trying to change, I can choose it here. So say that I know that what I want to change is anything that's cyan, which is like this tent, maybe some of this part of the t-shirt. So I can select this cyan color right there. And then I can move this hue slider. And if you look, no other colors change, but look at the tent and his t-shirt. All the cyan in his t-shirt, now I've changed it into green. And this little tent has gone green. So the rest of the color isn't being affected, but only the places that have cyan are being affected. Okay. And I can make it saturate it more. So look at, boom, look at how bright the cyan is on his t-shirt now, if I decide to leave it there. Anyway, so, but it's only working on the cyan tones, or I can make them dark. See how the t-shirt, the tent now went black, dark blue, etc. So these are all things I can do if I want to change a color that I know what color it is. In this case, I knew cyan. I'm going to bring them all back to 0 just to get back to normal. I'm doing this a little bit. If I go to red though, we'll discover that when I try to move red, a lot of my picture changed. Look at how many things are changing in my picture. It's not just the targeted thing, but we discover that grass has red, hair has red, t-shirt has red, skin has red, even asphalt has red. Look at that. My entire image is changing. You see that? It's not just his t-shirt. Focus on the other stuff that are less overt. Look at their hair and how much their hair goes from green to magenta. So there's sometimes that it's hard to tell. I just wanted to change his t-shirt. So if you just want to change a color, that's one of the colors that's a little bit harder to define. There's this little eyedropper. And now I can go into this t-shirt and say, this is really the color I want to change. So you click in here, this image analyzes this color. And now when I go hue right and left, it's at least trying to change mostly the t-shirt. Of course, anything else that's affected by that color also gets changed, but at least, you can define it. Sometimes it's hard to define. If I go yellow, thinking, oh, I'll do the yellow of his t-shirt, well, discover again that look at the grass, how much it changes when I change the yellow. So there's no way you can mask it out here in this photo. If you want to mask it out, only change his t-shirt, but not the grass. That's the kind of thing we do in Photoshop. Okay. But anyway, so this is kind of fun. Sometimes in this image, it's not so much of a big deal. But for example, I'm going to say done to this one. What if you want to change the color of some flowers, right? Here we go. Here I have something that's basically one color. And if I want to, if I click on this magenta and I start shifting the magenta, nothing looks bizarre, because meaning now I have a completely different color. I get it, but I'm not doing some weird stuff to the rest of the image because the whole image is changing. See what I mean? So now you can have a pink rose or a red rose or a blue rose, whatever you want based on changes that you make. And I'm just gonna reset these adjustments, okay? So yeah, go ahead and play around with a couple of different images that have color. Now I'm gonna go to something that's old and washed out, like this one. I'm gonna edit it, and this could be cool to see what the saturation would do. I'm gonna hit auto. Not so good. First, I need to crop all this white stuff out of the way because it's really affecting the image. By the way, which one of these is me?
The one in the pink, in the magenta.
Yeah, to the far left.
Yeah, that's when I was straightening my hair every day of my life. The things we did. The things we did. Okay.
Which one is you? The far left or the far right?
Far right over
Oh.
here. That's me with my straightened out
Oh.
deep every morning. Not to straighten my hair because curls were not in fashion.
Oh.
Yes, girls. Anyway, I have a teenage girl here who's a host student right now who has curls like mine. And the other day she showed up with straight hair and her girlfriend had straightened her hair. And I'm like, I had to show her these pictures going, see, I did that too. Anyway, so here's a photo that's lost a lot of its saturation. If I move this up in Photoshop, this works pretty well to bring colors back here. I'm not sure how well you can save. It's just saturating my sweater a lot, but it's not necessarily making us look more normal. So yeah, I'm not sure it's getting much better. I'm working on. So if I look at the before and after right now,
That's better.
that's better, but yeah, probably need to work on white balance. So let me show you skin tone. White balance helps you get a better color. I can click on white balance and go to skin tone and then click on there and click on some skin. It didn't do much. The color is changing. Guess it's changed. It's fixing the faces a little bit, but the rest is going weird. It's a little bit harder when you have these old photos because there's so much magenta in them. Anyway, for something complicated like this, I would probably head over to Photoshop, but not so bad between where we started and where we are now. Yeah, I don't know. That's the white balance helped a little bit and the color helped a little bit. So here's the before and after, before and after. So see over here, right next to revert to original. Here's before. Click, that's before, and this is after. I don't know. I don't like it too much, but maybe it's a little bit better than before, but this needs more power. This needs Photoshop. Some other photos might be fixable. All right. Before I continue showing you some other options that I have here, is there any problem photo or something you'd want to share that you'd want to know if I can help you with. A lot of you guys are just watching, and my goal is that you open up a photo and try it. Otherwise, it's really boring to watch me fix a photo. Idea.
I did several of these last week and I couldn't figure out what curves and levels did.
Oh, okay.
It was different.
Curves and levels are really interesting. They are, let me have a good example here. I'll open this one. This is I believe Italy or Spain. I don't remember. It's a photo my sister sent me from Europe. It's Italy or Spain. It looks like Italy. Anyway, so she sent me this photo, which is fine, but it's also a little bit washed out, isn't it? I can't, I'm sending it to you across the Zoom. Who knows what you're seeing, but it's a little bit blah. So if I go to edit, curves and levels, curves is, you really need to know what you're doing to be able to handle curves well. I'm going to skip it for a minute. I'm going to go to levels because it's an easier version of curves. Curves includes levels, but levels is just a simple part, and it's so powerful. So find out something that's like a landscape or something that's a little bit not contrasty enough or something. Most photos can be fixed with a little bit of levels. I'm going to open up levels. It's not that easy to use, but basically when I hover over this, and again, I teach levels in Photoshop a lot, but for those of you who've taken Photoshop and you go, whoa, I didn't know there was levels in here or curves in here. Yeah, there is. So I can go ahead and decide that I want everything to be a little bit more contrasty. I can bring in from these little corners here and here, I can bring in my dark points a bit to make my darks a bit darker. See, I'm grabbing anything that's dark and making it a little bit darker. And then I'm going to anything that's light, which is this end, and making it a little bit lighter. So just the before and after, it's got more like oomph, right? Then I can grab the middle tones and I can making those a little bit darker too. So you can grab these tones in here and move them a little bit one way or another. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe make that sky a little bit more intense or a little bit less. And so you kind of move different things around and different things kind of happen. So maybe you wanted to, lighten that up a little or darken it up a little. So now before and after, like it's got more pop, more oomph, so to say, right? So you have to be careful not to mess too much up, but depending if you're trying to show more of the hillside or the house, you can end up defining from before and after. And so again, I'll go to the before and after, before and after. Okay, so that's levels. Now, I'll turn that off. Curves, but to the nth degree. It does that at a much higher level. And if you know what you're doing, you can get even more detailed corrections, and you go color by color. And anyway, you can do some other kind of things. It's pretty fascinating. But curves takes more to handle. And, anyway, it's similar-ish in some senses. And in other senses, it's a little bit, definitely not a beginner tool. Okay. But anyway, that's the before and the after on curves. I'm going to turn my curves off because that will just move things around really quickly, but I'm going to go with levels. Okay.
Diana,
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm having a photo that I'm having a hard time editing that might demonstrate this a little bit. If I can
Okay.
share my screen.
Please go ahead. Let me stop my share. I'm going to show you guys also the sharpness and definition, which might help a photo that's not sharp get more sharpness. Go ahead and share, whoever. Is it
Yeah,
Dorothy?
let's see. Yeah, share screen here. I'm not sure why.
You have to share because you first share and then there's another share at the bottom right, a little white
Just saying open system preferences on.
Okay, that's fine. That means you haven't shared in a long time. So click in the open system preferences.
Yeah. Okay.
And then in your system preferences, you need to unlock it first. Bottom left, there's a little lock.
Okay.
Put in your computer password.
Yeah.
And then you need to go into that middle box and click the check mark next to the word Zoom. You unlocked it? Yeah, so now in the middle, okay, now there's something to the left and something to the right. On the something to the right, kind of a square box, you should see the word Zoom. You need to check box that's right there. Click on it and it'll
Um,
get checked.
I'm not seeing Zoom. I'm seeing photos and calendar and all that kind of stuff. I'm in
Then
security and privacy for some reason.
what's that?
I'm
Yeah,
in-
yeah, you are. This is you giving permission. Security and privacy is what you should see. Let me share and show you what you should be seeing. You should be in security and privacy. Okay, right there. And then over here, I believe it's asking for either camera. Which one is it asking for? Screen recording. I think it's here.
Screen
So,
recording. Okay,
and
I'll
then
try the
click
screen.
on Zoom.
Okay, let me just see. Let me get you.
And then you have to try to share again.
Let's see.
That's because I'm recording the class. And so you need to give permission if you're going to share your screen for you to know that, yes, you're giving permission for your computer to be recorded because now
Zoom.
your screen will be recorded.
Zoom, yeah.
Okay, now go back to share screen. And again, on the bottom right, another share, little blue button with white letters. First the green one and then the blue one.
It's telling me to go back to system preferences again.
So maybe you didn't click on the right thing. This time, click on system preferences and don't click around. Because if you don't click around, maybe it wasn't screen recording, I don't know. Click on the lock and whatever comes up, that's the one that has the Zoom that you need to click on. Maybe it wasn't screen recording. Just unlock and then right in the middle, you should see the whatever. There's different places where you might need to have to click on Zoom. You're not seeing it?
Let me unlock it again here. Okay, oh yeah, here, Zoom.
Okay, great. Now
says
go share. You have
Now
to do
go
share
share.
again. Yeah. And it says something about deny or just say later, just say later
Okay,
or cancel, whatever.
here, share
There we go.
later.
All right, great.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's see. In fact, you know what? Leave it open, because here, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to say request, go ahead and say okay to that because it'll send you back into that system preferences. Go ahead and say okay to that. And it'll have you,
Approve here.
yeah, say approve.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to send you again in there to the system preferences. Go ahead and say later.
Later, okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And close that up.
Yeah.
All right. Now what's up with the photo?
Well, when I tried to lighten it up, his face got really orange.
Mm,
He's-
Yeah.
He's a Eurasian.
okay. So go to edit. All right. So I would use curves. Show me what you tried to do when you
Well,
said it
actually, I
got
did
orange.
it. I tried it in Lightroom, so.
Oh, okay. But not, oh, so when it got really orange was in Lightroom, you mean?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so close up curves. What do you want to do right now? Make it lighter?
Yeah, I want to make it lighter so I can see him more and make it a little bit greener.
So go up to the top to light to start with, go up to the light. And let's go ahead and go to, no, because if you move any of that, that's don't do any of those. Go ahead and up there and say reset. Go to the little arrow and reset that.
Here.
That little, yeah. That is like a huge tool. It lightens everything up and you don't want to light everything up because you're going to lose that sky. So you're going to do something a little bit different. So go down to the contrast for a second. Not that one, close color. We're just working with light. Don't get confused. Yeah, for now. Yeah. So go to contrast, that one. And let's see if you raise the contrast a little bit. Just a little, everything has to be subtle touches. So back up. Just want to see what it does. Okay. Didn't work, didn't do what I wanted it to do. Go to the shadow. So first of all, hit the odd. What's that?
Should I reset it to 0?
Yeah, or just move it back to 0 or so. Yeah. Okay, now go to the shadows and let's lighten the shadows up. because his face is in the shadow right now. This is the perfect photo to fix, not in Lightroom and not here, but in Photoshop, because you can go in and just mask his face out, right? And just lighten his face up. But still, you lighten the shadows up. Good. Keep lightening the shadows up a little bit more. Okay. Now go to the brightness and add some brightness, which is underneath shadows, not brilliance, but brightness. Raise it up a little bit to the right. Okay, keep going. No, you're losing the sky. See how the sky is going away? So
Mhm.
bring that down. You want that sky. So keep it back to 0. Go back to 0 on that one. Go to brilliance and let's see what brilliance does to that sky, because I'm liking what it does to his face, but I don't want to lose the sky. Move it all the way to know what is happening. Move it to all the way to the right, and then
Ooh,
there you go.
not
So
bad.
that kind of lightened everything up, and see how
Yeah,
the
it
sky
does.
stayed.
And his face is pretty good.
Yeah, so now go to that little blue line and turn that on and off, that little blue check mark. There's the before and there's
Oh,
the
that's
after.
really
That's a lot better, right, you guys?
a lot better,
Yes.
yeah.
So when you have a photo that's a problem, that really helps.
Yeah, I like
Um,
that.
I think that kind of does it. Then you can play with color a little bit or not, but that kind of, I
That
think,
really
does it for me.
yeah.
Yeah. And if you want, you can go up to the before and after. Well, you just did it with before and after right there. So you kind of
Mhm.
saw the before and after.
So is she
Okay, cool.
changing her original, or like when she turns her Mac off, is it going to return to the dark again?
Nope. This is it. This one stays
This is it.
exactly the way it is
Okay.
until
So I say to revert
she
to
opens
original.
again and reverts to original, or keeps changing it. And if she wants to keep 2 versions, just because she can 2 versions, but there's no need, because she ever doesn't like this, she can just revert to original or turn,
What was it that which one did I use?
brilliance
Brilliant.
and contrast. I think I had to use a bit
I
of
thought we
contrast.
did
Yeah.
shadow.
Oh, shadows and brilliance.
Yeah, I
The
opened up
shadow,
the shadows.
the
yeah.
shadow, yeah, you opened up the shadows and then you use brilliance.
And what do you suppose would have happened if she just pushed enhance at the top?
You can test it. What you can do is that would be an example of to make 2 of them, right? You could go ahead and back up, go back down, like hit your space bar to go small again, because you can't duplicate it here. Hit your space bar right now. Okay, now right click and say, oh, you had it. You had copied it already. Okay, so go ahead and,
copy. Yeah.
all right, so right click on it, the Hadrian's wall that you just fixed, right click and say duplicate. Up,
Yeah.
duplicate one photo. Okay, and then open your, did you hit duplicate or not?
I thought I hit
I don't
duplicate.
see the extra one.
Didn't seem
It could
to.
be when you're doing Zoom, like, you know how I had done the copy and
Oh,
it took a
yeah,
while to
right.
show up. It might take a minute to show up. By the way, I'm noticing that it's 3:27 and the class officially ends at 3:25. So I just want to say, for those of you who are just hanging, why is it not doing a copy? Oh, no, it's just not duplicating it. Huh. Maybe you're duplicating it because you have a search. So maybe it's, I don't know why.
Mhm.
Well, what I was trying to
Yeah.
say, let's open it up again. If you go to edit, this is the one that we just fixed, right?
Mhm.
So what you can do is do a little, if you really want, I was going to say do one or the other and you can just check, but you can also do a little screenshot of these settings, which isn't much. It was
Mhm.
full on brilliance and 51% shadows. It wasn't like that complicated, right? So clean it up, right? Revert it all, reverse it, and then go see what that enhance does.
Yeah, I
And
didn't
there
like
you go.
that.
So sometimes the enhanced works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Turn that off. How about just the auto of just the light? The light doesn't know what you're doing and it just balances up there. So maybe this was a tree and who cares? But Dot knows that this is a face and it does matter to her. But the computer doesn't know. This could be, you know, a car in the background that you don't want to see. So it just evens out the tones. That's all they do. And then it's up to you to use your knowledge, your brains to clean it up, right? Anyway, so I'm going to go back to what we had done and I'm going to just move up this to 50 and kind of that's where you were. So I'll just leave it there so that you have this and then you can keep playing with it. This is where
Sure,
you were.
yeah.
Okay. All right. I just want to acknowledge that it's time and that some people have to go. So I'm reading questions. Yolanda had said, oh, you said it just to me, so people aren't reading. There's a question about having done overcorrected a picture way back. So let me just show basically with your example here, since you're open for a second here. I'm going to back up.
Shall I share?
Yolanda shared something that, oh, you do have it? Okay, yeah, if you do have it, then do that. I'm going to stop your sharing.
Share.
Yeah, I already did. Cool.
Okay.
So Yolanda, I was going to share with hers, but if you have it, Yolanda, then go for it.
So,
So I'm here to help a little bit more, but if you need to leave, please leave.
this
Okay.
was a picture that was completely cut off, and so I had to kind of like, so you can see that the hat has a lot of patches.
Uh-huh.
I also want to know how I can remove that yoli over there, and then on the lips, I overcorrected by.
Okay. The problem then is that this was probably, you did a screenshot or something, and that's why it says Yoli.
I copied
Like,
it from, I don't know where the original is. The original is already lost. I cannot find the original, but it has a big cut.
As much as this program can do a ton of stuff. So the reason this says Yoli is because it just has it's recognizing that you have, it's you, okay? But this won't show, if you take this picture out, right?
Yeah.
And you put it out here, for example, the photo here, it doesn't have that.
Okay,
See?
good.
It's gone. So I'm gonna delete it. Okay, so that is just because you're in Apple and it's showing you because you put yourself as people and stuff like that. But that will go away. That's just there as much as it would say the name of anyone that because you're trying to see the name. This kind of correction, did you do it here in this app?
I don't think it is in this computer. It was when way back we don't have as much as these things.
Yeah, because see, if I go over to the corrections, it doesn't seem like it has anything done to it. So whenever you did this, maybe you did it in the old iPhotos, maybe you did it in Photoshop. Did you ever take a Photoshop class or something? So now it's a little bit hard for it. Now I just enhanced the black and white, but yeah, it's that kind of stuff. Maybe you can retouch it out, but I don't know that you can at this point. Definitely in Photoshop, but here, this is probably too much. I don't know. I don't know that we can fix it. And yeah.
Too late.
It might be a bit fixable, but I don't know. It's getting better, but it's not.
Oh, I see. What tool are you using? Where are you?
The retouching tool that I had shown you. Still, it's not going to be perfect. Just all we can do is a little bit better.
Oh, okay.
Because it's looking around and it's copying other stuff around it, and so all around it it's fit. So this is the before. That's how it was, and this is now. So it's much better, right?
But
on
the lips over there, that kind of like I don't know what I did with it, but that was not
I can't really. I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't dare touch. Yeah, I don't know how to darken just the lips. Photoshop, I could do a lot with it, but here, like try to recover your lips because they're kind of faded out. I don't think here we can do much with that.
Yeah.
Because this Lightroom or this one, they're not good at little details. They're good at general areas. So when you want to go to little details, you need to do that in Photoshop. We could definitely fix that in Photoshop, but we can't really do much here more than this. You could turn it into a better quality black and white, where you can get some more quality.
Wow, I didn't even know those things.
There's other tones. So here's when you showed it to me, and this is now. It's got a bit more contrast, right? So this is where it started and this is now. So I kind of like it better now. But
yeah, that's the only picture I have that I found.
Beautiful picture.
Yeah. So that's your graduation.
Yeah.
That's great.
1960.
Take a little bit. So I didn't get to show you guys, sharpening. So for those of you who saved a little bit, you can sharpen the edges of things a little bit. This is a copy of a photo. It's a little bit harder. Usually you would do this. Let me just revert that. You should do that on a real photo.
Thank you so
So
much.
you're welcome. So that's before and after. So it's a little bit better, but
David, okay, good. Thank you.
it's still beautiful.
Thank you.
Send that photo to me in Photoshop and I might be able to help you. Okay. All right, guys, we got one more class. I'll be emailing you guys hopefully before it's time to start registering for you guys to register to spring classes. I will be teaching iLife again. I will be teaching Mac classes again. Okay, so, all right. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Take care.